Do you have like a favorite story from just a transaction that you can like say, you know what,
Yeah.
I remember that one?
Yeah, so one that stands out was a borrower that was incarcerated at a very young age. I know this is an odd story, but I'm one for, people change and people deserve a chance, and
One could argue that the most important piece of the mortgage process is getting the damn deal done. That's the layman's terms. That's how I describe it. But most mortgage companies, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of mortgage companies have that mystique about them, and this is coming from a consumer or maybe a real estate agent, that they're trying to find a way to say no versus trying to find a way to say yes. And that conversation, that topic is perfect for our guest today, who is Lara Taylor, the SVP of Sales Fulfillment, whatever the hell that means. We're going to ask her here in a minute. But we're going to talk about how this company does things. And I think it's a true indicator of how this company is because it runs through you. And we're going to talk about kind of your past with the company, which has been long. And so first things first, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
What the hell is a Sales Fulfillment SVP?
Yeah, so, we kind of just came up with this role a little bit, wanting to make sure that we were in touch with our sales team from an operational perspective, making sure that they got all the announcements that come out as far as guideline changes and how to get loans done, how to close loans, how to say yes to close a loan. So we felt like it needed to, be with their involvement in it. The title had to have some of their involvement in it, so that's where the sales fulfillment. So I'm all sales, anything to do with sales, anything that touches sales. I'm fulfilling, all of the requirements that sales needs to, get their business done, get loans closed.
It's interesting. It's a unique, it's more of an innovative title, I would say. I like
it.
Now, but your past, you've been with the company for how long?
17 years.
You notice a thread, a common theme here with every guest is it's been a very long past, which goes back to the culture that we talk about. Where did you start and kind of what was that progression to where you are today? Because it's been all over the board.
Yeah, I started here, really just came here. I was doing sales, at a prior mortgage company, all LO, and I, had a child that was young, and I was like, I just want to go back to processing, have my cake on the side, originate. I'm just going to lay low and process some loans. So I started actually at our SunTrust Mortgage branch, processing for about 6 LOs and originating on the side. Ron Mueller, who is now the president of the company, was managing that branch, and he wanted to grow it, and quickly started asking me my opinion about growth and ideas. And of course, me coming to just chill, can't keep my mouth shut. So I was like, well, since you asked, let's go. Here you go. This is everything you need to do. And so we just kind of grew from there, and I became his ops manager, and we grew the branch to over 100 employees. We were about 35% of the company at the time. And then he transferred into corporate to take over sales roles and developing him as the president of the company. And I came over and started doing some ops for corporate, as well as managing underwriting for a couple of years. And then left that role to go back to the old branch and kind of become the RVP of the branch and manage at a higher sales level for about 2 years or so, and then transferred out of that into the role that I'm in now on just being more sales fulfillment across the whole entire company to touch everybody.
At one time, you were like an underwriting manager.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of your background.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting, and I want to talk about that because that mindset is different here. It's a mindset of getting it done, not finding a way to say no. But before I get there, you were ops, you were processing when you started here, and then you kind of evolved into ops manager, underwriting manager, corporate. Then you went to go partner in a branch, a region, and then you came back. Why?
A big reason I
almost seemed
came
like a
back,
step back.
yeah, it does seem like a step back. I don't feel like any of it is anything that I've ever done in life at all is ever a step back to me. But the reason being is there's so many LOs throughout the company that I feel like I want to share what I know and what I learn with. So only pocketing to the small group of 20 LOs doesn't help the company overall.
Yeah.
So it was a need that they've talked about saying, we need to be able to reach out to all of our LOs, not just the 20 at this branch. So how can we do that? So just in conversations being like, I'd love to have that opportunity, just help the whole entire company, because clearly that's helping all of us, especially being an ESOP. So that's my goal. I hate to just, pocket or, carry the knowledge, in myself or in a small group, because obviously it's going to affect everybody when you share it.
So that was the driving reason why you came back.
Yeah,
to the corporate.
is really wanting to just share it with everybody.
I feel you, because
Yeah.
I feel the same way now with
Yeah.
what I'm doing, but I love that. That's interesting. So now, and if you don't know Laura, you're maybe you're an outsider watching or listening to this, like, she's the one that you call when your deal's blowing up at the 11th hour,
Yeah.
typically. She's the one when you've got the challenging scenario. Obviously, there are other managers that handle that kind of stuff, but I feel like those managers oftentimes collaborate with you or Debbie, right? And to figure out how to get things done, because as I've mentioned multiple times now, that this is a company that it's about getting the deal done. Like, let's
Correct.
figure out how we can do this. And I think that's important. So from your perspective, conveying that to maybe a real estate agent, because I think real estate agents have that mindset, like that we all just have the same products and mindset and structure and process, which is far from the truth. And so how would you describe it as somebody on the outside maybe looking in saying that's intriguing, that's interesting? What does it mean?
Right. I think for a real estate partner, it means that, we don't have a ton of layers of decision making. We have a small group of a few people that when there is something that needs to have a decision made quickly, mindfully, does it meet the requirements? We can make those fast, we can get together and have an answer right away. You're not waiting days or having to send it off to someone. It's sit in front of a board for them to make a decision. I think our group is very well educated as far as like always being on top of all the most recent guidelines and the most recent changes, so we're able to make decisions very quickly and help train and educate those partners that are seeking, like, what are the opportunities out there and why are you better than another mortgage company?
Yeah. I mean, and so for somebody who, again, is not inside of a mortgage company, if you're a loan officer, I think you understand this speak, you understand this conversation, and you understand how important it is when your back's up against a wall, which it almost literally can be, and then you've got this leadership that is behind you to help find that, try to get us out, right,
Yeah.
get you off the wall. But again, from an outsider, from a consumer's perspective or a real estate agent's perspective, I think that their immediate reaction is, oh, they just trying to find a way to say no or whatever. And so when talking to somebody who doesn't understand the nuances and how much there is to this, because the way I always articulated to an agent was, when they were trying to push my back up against a wall, was like, would you write a $300,000 check to lend to these people without doing some massive due diligence based upon some of these factors? And that would always get them to shut up real quick. Like, oh yeah, I guess I didn't think of it that way. Because they don't think of it. They're thinking about a paycheck. They're thinking about, I got to get the deal done. And that's my perspective. That was a sales perspective. But from somebody who is technically operations, I would say you are, what's your response to that when and I'm sure you've dealt with pissed off consumers and pissed off realtors before. How do you respond to that when it feels like we're trying to put up a wall?
I respond as more educating, giving them the knowledge, explaining the scenario to them or the situation or how the guideline reads, or showing them the requirements, and then also giving them solutions or options. Because most guidelines all have a solution or an option attached to it somehow. Some of it's objective, like what is your choice, or how would you look at it, or underwriter discretion, or do you have enough documentation to support the decision you're making? So kind of explaining it to them. Everybody always wants to know the why behind everything. And typically, if you give them the why behind why you're making the decision or why you can't make the decision, that stops it. And that's what they want to know. They're frustrated when no one's giving them the why, or no one's giving them a reason, or no one's giving them a solution. Yeah. So if you come out with the why, the reason, and the solution, they're normally going to stop and appreciate, what efforts you have done if you can't get it done.
Sure. So what does your day look like? I mean, do you come in and it's like a whirlwind of emails and phone calls and text messages?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I normally start my day at 4 a.m.
Oh, God.
Get a workout in. Meanwhile, people are texting me, calling me, teamsing me, you name it. Showering with people on the phone, asking questions. It doesn't matter. It's all day long. Our business is very now. Everybody needs an answer. They're trying to win the deal or who gets back quicker. We very much have to move quickly. So a lot of it's phone calls, just answering scenarios, guideline questions. I probably get 5 to 10 houses texting me a day asking me, can we lend on this piece of property? So I'm, yeah. So I'm an inspector. I am an engineer looking at foundations and photos. Yeah. Some of it's advice. I'm sometimes helping them come up with ways to help and partner with their realtors or how to even approach a realtor. Obviously looking at files for underwriting, training calls. I'm also always sitting in guidelines and digging things out and thinking ways, can I send something out that's going to help them get a deal or win something over or educate someone or educate them? So really it's just all day long. I mean, my days are like 10 hours goes by.
It takes a unique personality to do what you do. And even what you said, like you're taking phone calls, hopefully not FaceTimes, calls while you're in the shower. I mean, I don't know that there's a whole lot of people in your position that are doing that at many companies. Like, I think they're going to be very strict upon when they're going to make themselves available. Yeah. And I know this about you because I know I've abused that with you, and when I was actually involved and knew how to spell the word mortgage.
Yeah.
Which I don't do now. But I think that is a very strong testament, and that you're the leader. And so when you have your kind of hierarchy of people, what does your team look like? Is it other operational leaders, and then from there is it down to underwriters, or how does that kind of hierarchy work?
Yeah, so I have managers that oversee the departments, and then they have their staff underneath them that are underwriting files or training people or whatever the development department might look like as far as what the needs are. So most of the time, it's the managers that are coming to me with a need or a question or sales that's coming to me, not general, staff.
Who are you talking to the most on a daily basis, would you say?
Sales.
LOs?
Talk to LOs mostly.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is important because, again, usually there's that chain of command that a lot of companies operate from, and you have to go up the, pipe in order to get to the U's, and most people have your cell phone.
Yes.
Probably don't want to. Maybe we don't want.
I think that's actually the only phone number I have on my email signature is my cell phone. I tell them, do not call my office phone. I don't need too many lines of communication is annoying. I always have my cell phone. Call my cell phone. Text me. Call me. Pretty much keep it open all the time. I mean, I'll take a call no matter what. I think that is what makes our company unique. I'm not the only one at the company that does that. Fortunate to work with a lot of hardworking people.
That's a cultural thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How have you not burnt out?
Just the love for what we're doing and the fire that all my salespeople and my operations people give me to keep going. I mean, I chose the role that I have. I've always had that choice at this company.
And came back to it.
Yeah, I chose it and came back to it, and opportunity has always been there. I've never been told I had to take something or I had to do something here. I just have a passion for helping people, and there's a lot of gratitude that comes from watching what we do, giving the home ownership to people that have never, ever had the opportunity before, have been turned down before, have been told no. The look on their face, the excitement on the loan officer's face, I mean, that's my fire. It always will be, you know.
Do you have like a favorite story from just a transaction that you can like say, you know what, I remember that one?
Yeah, I fortunately have a lot, but I do have an interesting
that stands
one.
out that without giving too many details.
Yeah, so one that stands out was a borrower that was incarcerated at a very young age. I know this is an odd story, but I'm one for, people change and people deserve a chance, and so.
What was he incarcerated for?
He was incarcerated for burglary initially, and then like armed robbery or something of the sort. I'm not that.
He didn't murder anyone.
He didn't murder anyone. No, but he was a kid when it happened, and he grew up in a rough past.
Okay.
He made a bad choice as a kid, got put in juvenile, and then ended up in prison. Was there for the majority of his life. I mean, he was like in his late 50s. So he knew no technology, nothing about how the world works in 2022.
It's like Shawshank.
Yeah.
He didn't know life outside of prison.
Correct, nothing.
Okay.
And he had found gainful employment and was living his life the way that he needed to, had done everything right, was turned down several times for an opportunity to have home ownership, which was his dream, and his rehabilitation and being an American. And he came to us looking for an opportunity, and we gave it to him, and obviously he's a homeowner, he's doing well. It was just interesting to hear his story and see how excited he was. And I mean, there were things he didn't know how to work a microwave. There were so many little things that he had no idea of this house that he was getting into of, I didn't know an alarm system. How do you even do an alarm? They didn't have alarm systems then, when he got incarcerated. So I know that it's an odd story to have that one.
How many years out of prison was he?
He was a year because he had worked while he was in prison, so we were able to use that time frame as employment because you actually get paid.
Oh, shit.
Yes, we were able to use that time frame.
What was his job in prison?
I'm sure it was several jobs. So he would do lunch. It was cleaning duty, the library.
It's like the typical stuff. So like the stuff you see in movies is actually what
absolutely,
jobs are.
absolutely normal jobs.
That is absolutely fascinating. I bet there's a lot of stories. We should actually do future episodes about some of the best stories. That would be good.
We have a ton.
I like that. Okay. All right. So I've already asked the question, like how have you not burnt out? And I'm really curious to hear your answer to this question because I truly believe you'll never do anything else. And I think you're obviously, you can't go much higher up the chain at this point. But if you didn't do this anymore and you just woke up one day, what do you think you'd do?
I would do something in fitness. Yeah, like either, lead fitness classes, be a personal trainer, something with a group of people,
Which way would you go there? Would you be the person at the front of the class on the bike, like the rah-rah, like,
I would be that. I'm that way now, and I don't even. And I'm not the teacher.
I could see you being the ass kicker of like, you're a pussy, left that way.
That's me now, and I'm not the teacher. So yeah. I'm always in the front of the class. Actually, just Tuesday, the instructor was like, "Okay, everybody's in the back of the class, but Lara. So I'm going to teach from the back of the class." So yeah. But I would do that. I just anything to do with a group of people. I love people, so I would definitely have to be something that involves people and getting to know people and being with a group of people.
You mentioned kids. You had a young kid 17 years ago. I don't think that kid's so young anymore. You have two kids, right?
I do, yeah.
What are their ages?
My daughter will be 17 in February, and then my son is 19.
You're almost an empty nester.
I am. She drives now. I'm like by myself. I randomly didn't care about dogs, and now I become a dog lover. If you know me, you're like, what happened to me? All my friends are like, she's lost her mind. Why does she like these dogs all of a sudden? It's crazy.
What kind of dogs?
So I have a Australian Shepherd Border Collie mix because I do have a farm. So we got the dog to run our cattle. And then I have a mini poodle that I just got. She's only 10 weeks old, and she's the cutest little thing in the whole entire world. Debbie Scow that works with me, who's my underwriting manager, she has the brother, I have the sister, so we have best friend.
How sweet is that?
Poodles. Yes.
What is it about, and I'm talking to Doug here because we've had a couple interviews today with farms and you people wanting to get out in the land. What do you farm?
I currently farm cows, so I have cows,
Really?
chickens. That's it right
For
now.
a business?
Yeah, for a business.
Your
So
husband?
he does that. Yep.
Really?
That's what his kind of retirement plan looks like.
Is this, okay, so what's the
Beef.
future look like? Are you guys going to expand that, or cows and chickens? you said?
Probably, yeah. I mean, probably some pigs, but not too crazy on what all animals
What
are
about
out
crops?
there. Yeah, no, I don't have a green thumb. If you've ever saw my Facebook posts, I mean, my plants around my house are all dead, and I just keep them because that's I'm wasting a ton of money.
Amanda Mosley
I have an
up and
acid thumb.
Let Amanda Mosley teach you.
I know. I was thinking of that. I
She's really
should
good at
reach
that.
out to her.
What
yeah.
about goats?
I'm not a goat fan. You know, they're very destructive and annoying. They're
Yeah,
cute, but very destructive, annoying. I have a donkey, actually.
Of course, you have a jackass.
Yeah, I have that. They protect your herd because people
Really?
they do get the goats to protect the herd.
Not the dog.
Well, the dog does, but the dogs come inside. They're not out there at night.
Sure, interesting.
So
I
you're
didn't know
keeping,
that's what a donkey's job
yeah,
was.
Yeah.
Interesting. I learned
Llamas,
something new. Okay.
donkeys, yeah.
Really?
All sorts of weird animals protect the herd.
How much land do you guys have?
153 acres
Holy crap.
in Fredericktown.
So that's what you would do, is you'd farm. You'd-
I don't really do
well, no,
that.
I guess you wouldn't. You'd
I
open a
s-
gym
Yeah,
just
I would
outside.
open I would be hiking. I normally go down there, do a little campfire, get my chair, pour my glass of wine, and just look at the nature and yell at everybody else and make them do the work. Yeah.
I got it. So you have to get back to the city.
I'm not. I wouldn't
No?
say. I wouldn't say
Okay.
city. I live in
Okay.
Hillsboro.
Yeah, true.
That's not too
Yeah,
city.
true. Okay.
This is as city as I get up here in Creve Coeur. But
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay, cool. I did not know that about you. What you, of all people, I ask everyone this question because there's always bribery in this business, or at least ass kissing. And so, as a loan officer watching this, or maybe one of your employees, or maybe a real estate agent,
Sure.
and they need to butter you up.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
I always tell them because they're always wanting to give me food and candy and chocolates to butter me up, and that does not work. Eating is not a way to my heart. Wine is a way to my heart.
You notice, Doug, that whenever they answer this question, they make complete eye contact with the cameras?
That is who you should, right? That is who I'm talking to. Those people. Wine, not food. I'm not a foodie.
What's red or white?
Red, dry red wine.
Which flavor?
Cabernet.
Do you ever been to wine country?
I have never been to wine country.
wow.
No.
I mean, maybe Missouri wine country. but that
Missouri
doesn't
wine
count.
country. I mean, I live in Hillsboro. We
All
have
right.
a handful of wineries. by
There
us.
is a great gift idea
Yeah.
for those of you that really
Yeah.
want to overachieve. Napa,
Yeah.
Sonoma, something like that.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Ron goes to those places.
He does,
Why the hell
yeah.
doesn't he take you?
I mean, he does give me some great wines. I'm not going to lie.
I think he should
will
take
give
you. I
him.
mean,
He
all
probably
you've done
should.
for him.
I know, right?
And this is now on the web.
Yeah, he probably doesn't want me to leave the office.
He's not
That's
going to
what
watch
it
this
is.
episode, I
Yeah,
guarantee you.
he doesn't want me to leave, so he knows I
That's
won't
a
come
good-
back.
That's
I
a
bet.
good point. He locks you in a cage.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
weird.
he thinks I'll stay.
Awesome. Well, I think we're going to have to do some future episodes about some stories because that was really
Yeah.
cool. That's feel good. So you make loan officers feel good every single day. So keep being awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
appreciate you.
Yeah.